True terror really isn't found in Hollywood movies with their predictable jump scares and dramatic music. Nope, it's walking right behind us in the dark. I just wanted to see how close I could get to killing you. Now, that wasn't written by some screenwriter. That was actually spoken by a completely sober, unassuming stranger who quietly followed three college girls down an empty street after a night out. He didn't want their money. He literally just wanted to see how close he could get. So, welcome to the anatomy of true horror. In today's explainer, we're categorizing the absolute darkest corners of the human experience, all based on dozens of grounded, true survival accounts. And honestly, the darkest irony of all this? The original audio containing these harrowing accounts was actually packaged alongside relaxing rain sounds. Yeah, it was literally designed to help people fall asleep. But instead of a soothing lullaby, it totally exposes the absolute fragility of our everyday safety. It's just a really stark reminder that the world continues to be a wild, unpredictable place while we rest our heads. All right, jumping into part 1, predators in public spaces, threats hiding in plain sight. We are starting our journey out in the public sphere, where danger kind of masks itself with friendly smiles and casual conversations. Because it's honestly terrifying how fast a completely innocent setup can instantly become a predatory trap if you just ignore those seemingly minor red flags. Think about it. A car rolling just a little too slowly down a suburban road, a guy in a mall offering to take a lost 5-year-old to his private jet in Jamaica, or some man on an airplane who memorizes your name and starts pretending you're his daughter. Listen, these aren't accidents. They are highly calculated tests of your boundaries. Just to see how fast a casual encounter can turn deadly, imagine you're a cab driver working the 3 a.m. graveyard shift. You pick up this charismatic, well-dressed guy who casually claims he's a professional hitman. You play along, right? You ask him about his methods, figuring it's just a wildly imaginative storyteller having a bit of fun. But the horror drops at the very end of the ride. He pays you, steps out, and thanks you, using your real first name, and telling you to take care of your wife, using her real name. Your driver's license was nowhere visible. The game wasn't a game at all. What's even crazier is how predators will actually weaponize the public to corner their prey. Take this one harrowing account, where a young woman ducks into a liquor store to hide from a stalking Range Rover. The driver follows her inside, walks right up to the store owner, and claims he's looking for his runaway little sister. He perfectly describes the terrified girl's custom jean jacket, her beat-up Nikes, her mirrored aviators. He was hunting her, right out in the open, using this mask of familial concern to completely bypass any public defense mechanisms. Moving on to part 2, terror in the sanctuary, when home isn't safe. If the public sphere is dangerous, escalating that threat right into our private sanctuaries just shatters any remaining illusions of security. Picture this. A large family rents this beautiful 4-story lakeside home for vacation. They decide to play sardines. You know, the game where one person hides in the dark and everyone else searches for them? Well, a 17-year-old boy creeps down to the uninsulated dirt cellar to find his hiding uncle. He hears giggling, so he lowers himself into the dark hole. But immediately, this foul smell of feces hits him. And as his eyes adjust to the shadows, he realizes the lanky figure standing in the dirt isn't his uncle. It's a wanted fugitive, just hiding in the dark, waiting for company. And here's where the number 10 makes this truly nightmarish. That was an agonizing 10-foot drop into that pitch-black, uninsulated dirt pit. The homeowners had explicitly warned the family that there was no ladder, meaning anyone who dropped down into that cement hole would basically be imprisoned there. The teenager ended up hanging from the ledge by his hands, his feet dangling right above the laughing intruder before somehow summoning the adrenaline to pull himself back up to safety. No way. Or, hey, imagine the pure vulnerability of stepping out of the shower in an empty house. A high school student walks downstairs in a towel, turns the corner, and stops dead. There is a strange man in his kitchen. He's smiling, standing perfectly still, but his arms are unnaturally rotated and twisted completely backward. The boy punched him in the jaw, bolted upstairs, barricaded his door, and just watched in pure horror as the man's shadow shifted back and forth beneath the door gap for what felt like an absolute eternity. In all of these home invasions, our human instinct almost always warns us first, usually long before we have any logical data to back it up. We see this exact thing with two friends who were camping out in Delamere Forest. Some locals stumbled upon their fire and acted super friendly, but the campers' instincts were just screaming that something was wrong, so they packed up and moved to a hidden ridge.
Literally hours later, they watch through binoculars as those same friendly locals return to their old campsite, wielding baseball bats, hammers, and ropes, just furiously searching for them. All right, let's pivot to part 3. Beyond the rational. Encounters with the unexplained. Because sometimes the horror we face cannot be explained by bad intentions. Sometimes the universe throws something at us that totally shatters the laws of biology and physics. Just consider the sheer helplessness of your mind waking up before your body. One victim recounted waking up completely paralyzed, only to hear this static-like sound of ghostly children giggling in her ear, rhythmically chanting, "You're going to die." Another night, she woke to find a towering white figure with piercing bright blue eyes hovering right beside her bed. It's like your own bedroom becomes this prison of your mind's creation, or honestly, maybe something else entirely. And then we have these medical anomalies that completely defy logic. A seasoned EMT responds to a 4 a.m. call at a state prison. The inmate patient is shivering, but perfectly alert and speaking. Yet when the EMT takes his vitals, his blood pressure is 0. The pulse oximeter, 0 heart rate, 0 oxygen. Even with a stethoscope placed directly on his chest, there is absolutely no heartbeat. It's just an ice-cold man functioning as a living corpse, crying silently as doctors wheel him away for tests. Other times, reality just seems to bend through these eerie premonitions. For a whole year, a woman had a recurring dream of standing in a cemetery with a boy she didn't know, sealing his fate by saying she would die for him. Fast forward to real life, she's driving on the highway and hears this unexplained metal scraping sound. She turns around briefly, which delays her trip by about 30 minutes. When she gets back on the road, she encounters a horrific, fatal head-on collision that happened exactly when she would have been there. And the body being pulled from the wreckage? It was the exact boy from her dreams.
But then again, sometimes the horror is purely environmental. It's literally baked directly into the ground we walk on. Take the funeral director operating a rural 17th century cemetery. He explains that centuries of burying bodies in the exact same small plot of land has fundamentally altered the earth. The light-colored soil there looks like a beautiful sandy beach, but when you look closer, it's actually nothing but centuries of crushed overlapping human bone meal. Just wild.
Which brings us to part 4, trusting your instincts, the ultimate survival tool. As we reach the resolution of our explainer today, the absolute loudest lesson echoing through all of these accounts is how incredibly vital it is to trust your gut. Let's look at the core survival tactics extracted directly from our sources. These are the empowering, real-world rules that actually kept these storytellers alive. A massive recurring theme here is overcoming social conditioning. We're all taught to be polite, right? To give strangers the benefit of the doubt. But true survival requires throwing politeness right out the window the second a situation feels wrong. You can never prioritize a stranger's feelings over your own safety. Survival really comes down to recognizing danger instantly and just acting. 2 young sisters were walking home from a gas station when the 11-year-old realizes a ragged, unkempt man from a suspicious camper is suddenly fast-walking right behind them. She squeezes her sister's hand and whispers, "On the count of 3, we race home." But actually, before she even hits 3, the man drops his stumbling act and just starts sprinting after them. Because they listened to their gut, they bolted early and made it to safety. When you strip away all the ghosts and the Hollywood movie monsters, the true anatomy of terror is realizing how incredibly thin the veil of our everyday safety actually is. It's understanding that our safe, predictable bubbles can violently burst in a matter of seconds, transforming a totally routine walk home into a fight for your life. So we're going to end this explainer with a lingering thought to keep you on your toes. We all have those moments, right? A shadow that looks a bit out of place, an unexpected knock at the door, or a stranger whose smile simply doesn't reach their eyes. The next time the shadows get a little too close and you feel the urge to just brush it off as your imagination, will you be so sure you're safe? Thank you for exploring the anatomy of true horror with me today. Stay alert, trust those instincts, and take care out there.